We were hunters and foragers. The frontier was everywhere. We were bounded only by the earth and the ocean and the sky. The open road still softly calls, like a nearly forgotten song of childhood. We have wandered among the wanderers. The earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the only home we've ever known.
Hello, my name's Connor, and this is Elon Muskie. On our way home from work today, we're going to take you on a journey of Tesla Motors. Now that we're cozy and warm, this journey will encompass one of the most complex companies of the 21st century, led by what some would call an egotistical CEO, one that has a stock that raises and drops on a single tweet, and one that makes promises and decisions left and right at a moment's notice. But above all else, on this journey, we hope to show you one of the most technologically advanced cars on the market.
Now, we're going to begin by discussing Porter's 5 Forces model. Tesla primarily operates within the United States, and we're going to discuss some of the most significant forces within this market. First, the threat of supplier power is moderately high. There are a limited number of suppliers providing high-tech electronic components for automobile manufacturers in the United States. Overall, there's also been an increase in industry-wide demand for these components, and most manufacturers demand the same components. The only factor decreasing supplier power is the fact that many suppliers sell through third parties and consequently have less influence over the selling process. Furthermore, the threat of rivalry is high. Dominant automobile manufacturers benefit from established production infrastructure, reducing production costs and leading to cost competition between rivals. There are also low switching costs for buyers looking to purchase a new car. Rivalry is also increased by the fact that there are a large number of similarly sized firms, and the automobile industry has been consistently growing since the US economic crisis. More specifically, Tesla operates within the electric vehicle niche market. We're also going to discuss some of the most important forces within this market. In the niche market, threat of substitution is very high. In addition to the planes, trains, and public transportation that threaten most automobiles, the entire range of regular gas-powered cars are substitutes for electric vehicles. Also, the threat of substitution is increased by the ride-sharing industry, which is becoming more popular and in some cases decreasing consumers' desire to own a car. Also, buyer power is moderately high within the niche market. There are very low switching costs, and buyers can decide to switch to a gas-powered car at any time. This market is extremely price sensitive, and most electric vehicle manufacturers struggle to convince car buyers that electric vehicles are worth the added premium. Furthermore, customers are reluctant to accept that electric vehicles are reliable or to believe that electric vehicles have sufficient range.
Moving on, the Pesty analysis shows that the most significant forces that arise in the automotive industry are economic and social. Economically, Tesla has an opportunity to capitalize on electricity's relative standard pricing when compared to oil, which constantly fluctuates. Furthermore, storing that electricity is cheaper than ever as battery production costs continue to lower, especially due to Tesla's Gigafactory. On the other side of things, Tesla is extremely low on cash. They actually just spent 25% of what they had repaying a single bond. This has caused some investors to become increasingly skeptical, especially due to the fact that Tesla is not profitable and the company's direction is somewhat unknown. Socially, the support for electric vehicles has increased a lot, and that comes for two reasons. First off, people have become increasingly concerned about the environment, and electric vehicles are an answer to that when compared to the typical automotive. Secondly, one of the biggest concerns about an electric vehicle is the lack of ability to fill it up with gas, or therefore recharge quickly. However, that range anxiety has become increasingly decreased because charging stations have been implemented and also batteries are able to last longer. Social threats do still exist. One of those threats is a volatile brand image, and this specifically happens when an automotive company releases information erratically or has a CEO who acts irrationally on occasion. Also, there's become some increasing skepticism over self-driving technologies, and this is largely to do because of the publicity recent crashes have gotten from the media.
Here we are at one of Tesla's over 1,100 superchargers around the globe. Ultimately, this infrastructure will give them a first mover advantage because their infrastructure is far better than every other competitors in electric vehicle space. As you can see, superchargers are widely used even on a Saturday morning by Tesla owners.
From a resource-based view, Tesla has many resources and capabilities that contribute to their business model and value chain. These include the supercharger network, the Fremont factory, over-the-air updates, the Gigafactory, autopilot, and battery technology.
What makes a supercharger different than just charging at home is that they can charge very quickly. It also is what makes them valuable. Superchargers can all charge up to 75 miles in just 5 minutes.
Tesla's Fremont factory, along with its highly automated assembly line, allows Tesla to drive production costs down while promoting consistency and efficiency. But we believe that this competitive advantage is only temporary for Tesla, given that is not that rare in the industry.
Another one of Tesla's sustainable competitive advantages is what's called an over-the-air update. All of Tesla's cars are connected, which is called fleet interconnectivity in Tesla. And basically what that means is that it allows them to have not only software updates, but also firmware updates. They're the only car that can receive firmware updates on the market right now. Those updates can fix little small bug fixes in their technology and also firmware things that are going wrong with the car. That drastically decreases Tesla's service costs and allows them to be very efficient. The production facility that we do see providing Tesla with a sustainable competitive advantage is their Gigafactory. The Gigafactory is one of the most productive factories in the world in terms of output per kilowatt hour and is producing electric car batteries for Tesla at an alarming rate. Now Thomas is going to engage autopilot. This is one of the technologies that Tesla has that is far better than other people in the market as well. As you can see, Thomas is not driving the car, and it's actually slowing down because of the car distance here, and it's keeping him in between the lanes. The final capability that we'll talk about today that will ultimately provide Tesla with a sustained competitive advantage is their advanced battery technology. Not only do they provide more range than any other electric vehicle on the road, but they also use significantly less cobalt in their battery makeup, which will benefit them in the long run as cobalt resources are strained by electric battery demand.
Hey, look, Connor, this all sounds great, but Tesla still doesn't make any sense. How can the company continue to grow their revenue by selling lower-priced cars without sacrificing their brand image and quality differentiation?
Yeah, Matt, I agree. That is the strategic issue. Let's go over some alternatives.
Connor, here's an idea. We all know Tesla now has dog mode, but how about cat mode? It's the 21st century. Where's pet inclusivity?
Very important.
Connor, here's another idea. Elon already sent a car to space. How about send a car to the sun?
Makes sense.
Connor, another great idea. How about some door handles? Connor, we know it's waterproof, but how about a fully submersive car?
Tesla submarine? Now that we got those out of the way, let's go over some real alternatives.
Our first alternative is for Tesla to move into the Chinese market. The Chinese market is huge and could provide a significant boost to Tesla's revenue. This alternative is even more attractive now that Tesla has recently received approval for their Gigafactory in China. However, this alternative would not solve the strategic issue because it wouldn't increase the product reliability.
Here's an alternative. Sell Tesla to Toyota. Implement TPS to improve production efficiency and ultimately improve the reliability of these vehicles.
Wait. That would sacrifice our brand image, and there's no way Elon would let that happen. Well, we've come to the end of our journey. We finally made it home. And I know we got a little distracted at the supercharging station, but we got 50 more miles of charge for the way home, so all in all is good. Ultimately, Tesla is a very technologically advanced company that is struggling to keep up revenue while not sacrificing both their quality differentiation but also their brand image. Ultimately, what we think that their solution should be is to heavily invest in their research and development to increase their reliability, both through their firmware and software updates, in addition to their production facilities. We ran all three alternatives through the same criteria in order to see which one was the most viable and still solves our strategic issue. These criteria included whether the solution would enhance the brand image, whether it would address international growth, whether it is economically viable, whether it would raise regulation concerns, and how complex it would be to implement. The main points raised from these criteria for our final recommendation are the economic viability and the enhancement of brand image. Economically, Tesla is already strapped for cash and spends an enormous amount of money on research and development in order to keep on the cutting edge of innovation technologies. Ultimately, we think an expenditure in this area will not only improve the way people view Tesla, but also help them increase revenues. In order to show how an increase in reliability affects revenue, we conducted a short survey and sent it to 30 or so of our close friends. The first question asked whether they believe Tesla is reliable or not right now, and around 52% of them said no, and around 32% yes. The following question asked them about their likelihood of buying a Tesla if they were to increase their reliability and their quality ratings, to which over 75% of the people answered yes. And the final and third question asked whether they would believe an increase in reliability would have a positive effect on a car company's profitability, and over 67% of people said yes, while only 13% said no. From this survey, we conclude that Tesla could indeed increase profitability if they were to increase their quality and reliability. Finally, to wrap this all up, we'll run you through a hypothetical timeline to how Tesla can implement our final recommendation. Immediately, a task force should analyze data and identify where improvements are needed and where the problems are reoccurring the most. After 3 months of analyzing, the task force will start the iterative development process on solutions and improvements. After a full year of development, they will release their first prototype and collect feedback both from their customer base and their employees. After receiving feedback, take 3 months to fine-tune the final product and implement the new technologies with a continuing support team.
Thanks for watching.